Hi everyone, welcome back to Sip and Sala. My name's Aaliyah Sala. You all, I am sure, are familiar with me already because we've done this quite a lot. Excuse me. It's episode. Hmm. What episode is it? Episode 13. Episode 13. Again, my name's Aaliyah. If you've come from our social media, then welcome. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a listener, I hope my voice is not doing your head in because I've had some croaks, some coughs, some whatever along the way, but I'm still here rattling on. So, welcome. And let's talk about today's episode. But firstly, I want to address something because it's part of this episode anyway. The episode is going to be called Consistent Content. And if I'm going to be brutally honest, and if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to be, a bit of a critic to myself, then I need to be honest and say, wait, this is not that consistent because today's Thursday. It's not Wednesday. So I'm sorry that I'm bringing this to you a day late. I just completely forgot. Like, I know, rude of me. I really forgot. I was like, wait, there's something I haven't done this week. And I was like, oh, wait, I didn't forget about you guys, but I kind of forgot, I forgot. So today's Thursday. I do apologize, it's a day late. Welcome here anyway. Eid Mubarak and Eid Eid Mubarak. It's not even Eid, girl, it's not Eid. She's a fraud. I'm a fraud. I'm not a fraud. I'm not a fraud. Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem to all the Muslim brothers and sisters if you're out there listening. That's another thing. Like, man, I love Ramadan. I love Ramadan, but it really takes this life out of you, doesn't it? Because whether you fast or you don't fast, it just changes everyone's habits in the house. Everyone's walking around at 4 a.m. eating bloody biscuits. So it just plays a massive impact on everybody. So that's why I think we're a bit all over the shop at the minute. I'm not fasting, but Far is. I do intend to fast, but hmm, I don't want my fast to impact what I need to do and how I'm going to show up for myself. And I know that's really selfish, but I'm lucky enough to have a choice. So I'm going to fast on on the down days with Farhan, because as well now, even if I did fast, I know I'd be obviously doing a great thing for myself, but he's at work anyway. I'm at work, he's at work. We're at separate places, so I do try to do it more for support. Can't really support him if we're in different locations for the duration of the fast, but I do get up with him and for Sahur. And anyway, we're digressing. Eid Mubarak. No, it's not Eid. Fucking hell. Sorry. God. Ramadan Mubarak to you all, and I pray this month is blessed and peaceful and wholesome for you all. But back to the podcast. It is going to be called Consistent Content. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I've also been thinking quite a lot since I last spoke to you about like the podcast and like if you're all a viewer, you probably will have seen it say season one. I was always debating whether to do it in seasons purely just to give myself a break, and I was like, and ahhing. And now I'm becoming inconsistent, and I don't want to show up for any of you or myself that way. So I am going to do it in seasons. There will be 14 episodes per season. So this is the second to last one, but we'll be returning bigger and better, I promise. And more consistent, I hope. No, I don't hope. I know. So yeah, that's where the consistency comes in. But let's talk about the consistent content because it all ties in. We kind of digressed on this podcast and we kind of went into a bit of a marriage counselling, life counselling session, and that's fine. I think life does that to you whether you're on a podcast or not. So I'm more than comfortable and more than happy to have these conversations with you all on here. And I want to let every single one of you know, listener or watcher, I have read your messages. It might not show you read. I might not have responded. No, actually, I'll tell you a lie. I probably haven't responded. The reason being is there's so many of you, but I am so touched by how many people are touched by this podcast. Oh, you took my voice. Genuinely, I've read every single one of your messages, and honestly, I'm just like, man, oh my God, I'm a real life superhero. No, I'm not a superhero, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I wanted. I wanted it to nudge conversations that just are not untouched. And I also wanted people who who have been having these conversations out loud with themselves for a very long time now to feel normal. If quote unquote, if you're listening, I'm putting the quotation marks here because so many people like if you say something, people are like, oh, I don't really think about things like that, or I'm not that big of a deep thinker. And it's like, You don't it's not a negative thing, so I'm so glad that my words and what I'm sharing on this podcast is helping some of you. So honestly, I'm really, really glad. But consistent content. You all asked. I wanted to make sure that I'm giving you what you want to hear. And I all asked you what you wanted to hear. And you want to hear more about the self-growth journey, the counseling journey. Now, I don't know if I can just snap back into that. We're going to talk. Well, I promise I will talk about that. That's the whole reason I started this podcast, because I want to share my story with every single one of you. But equally, I don't want to be branded as the girl that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I'm great enough to be somebody without and then tell my story than making my story make me. Do you know what I mean? So everyone's different, and I don't judge anyone who's taking another route. However, I'll share my story when my time comes. Until then, we'll talk about the rest of the stuff. So consistent content. We led into the previous podcast talking to my husband, talking about my marriage, talking about my relationships with my parents, my siblings, my family, all the rest of it. And I realized the more I began to dig deep recently, like I'm just so inconsistently content. Like I've either got like a great area there and not so, like I've never just got like an all five. You know what I mean? Like, is it all fives on the board or something? I don't know where I'm getting on the board from, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I've heard someone say like all round, tens all round. I don't know. I don't actually know. I don't know why I'm still going on about it. Fives all round, let's say. I don't ever feel like I'm fives all round or eights all round in all compartments, like mental health, mothering, wifing, parenting, being a human being, dealing with my trauma. I never feel like I've got it all together. My job. I never. And I realized, wait, like, maybe that plays an effect on how I am as a person, because I'm always a bit snappy, a bit, and like I said, and I've told you on the previous ones, I've become a version of myself that I just don't want to be, and I don't want to sit and tell you, well, like, I'm trying to be a better person, and then, like, some people are like, give yourself a break, but like, anyone could do better. I don't care who you are, anyone could do better. So, a break's not really needed. However, I did think, like, I don't believe that anybody was born and just thinks I'm going to be a snappy person today. I'm going to be aggressive, or I'm going to be this, or like it's about undoing those bad habits. And I've realized I'm so inconsistently content because I think about it, like, sometimes I'll say to Far, like, I'm trying to think how I can explain it. I'll say to Far sometimes, like, I'll for now, my job is social media, right? I'll do lots on social media. I feel like woof, like, yes, I'm untouchable there, like, all guns blazing. But then I'm like, but the amount of content I put out, which is in working hours, so if I went back to my job, I would be at work anyway. Then I'm like, but then I feel like a terrible mom. And I'm trying to find a way to just fall into like, no, I did this. No, I did this. No, I did this. And it's about, you know what? I realized my standards for myself were way above the standards that I have for anyone else, or the standards that anyone else had of me. Like, so before I'd be like, no, I must make, X amount of videos for my social media, engage this much. I must, when I had my full-time job as well, go to my full-time job all week, clean my house at least 3 times a week, take my kids on all these things that I don't naturally fall into, because as a parent, I'm just not a parent who likes to go to the park at 7 a.m. But I must do it, because at the end of the day, there's other kids getting to go to the park at 7 a.m. and mine must feel extremely shortchanged that I'm not doing that. No, let's be realistic. My kids don't even wake up at 7 a.m. I have to wake them up at 9:30 on days off. So it's about just being honest with your own reality at the end of the day. And I realise that, you know what? How can I be a better mom? 7 o'clock in the park time is not it. Fucking all the rest of this shit that you see on social media is not it either. It's about, you know what, who are my kids? What do they like? And you know what? I've really, for example, like just in regards to the kids, I always celebrate Ramadan with my husband and my kids, but this Ramadan I've taken it upon myself to really make sure that I push the meaning of their religion to them, because Far didn't ask me to. I don't think it's my job, but in a way, it is my job, because Christmas comes around, they get an advent calendar, and like, we're not, we don't follow Christmas for religious reasons. I know some people might disagree and be like, we shouldn't have an advent calendar or a Christmas tree. Let's just agree to disagree, okay? Because there's too much war in the world to be fighting over like this. It makes no sense to me. However, I feel like I wanna take it as my job. So I'm like, how best can I show up for them more as a mom? Which then makes me feel good about me. And then when I feel good about me, I can almost tick that off and be like, what else did I do today? And I've really begun to do that. I've really begun to say, Leah, you know what? Don't just frantically clean the house 3 times a week for 6 hours of the day, because then I won't do the other things. I won't get to take the kids to the park. I won't film any content. I won't do this. And I'm just going to feel shit. And I'm trying to normalize it for you guys listening, because you all might be like, she's fucking waffling on again. And I'm known for that. But I feel like so many of us, right? We wake up and we're like, we go to school, we take our kids to school on the school run, not ready, and we're like, fuck, I was the only mom there, not ready today. And then it just, the boom, boom, like goes down in your day. Or you take them when you're ready and you feel like your shit don't stink, and then something else goes wrong, and it's about like, you know what? You're just a human. Honestly, set yourself a standard of what someone else expects from you. And you know what? Most people don't expect as much as you expect. You'd be so shocked if you actually sat down and wrote it down. You know, like if you said, you know, what could I do versus what they want me to do? You'd be shocked. And I think that's also allowed me to just calm down with my husband, because I think I can very easily do a lot for him, even though he doesn't expect it or want it of me. And although it's beautiful in the moment, then it very quickly burns me out. And when I'm burnt out and I feel like I'm not receiving the same, then I'm almost like upset that it feels intentional, do you know? So all of it, the consistent content is applying across all boards. So if you are listening, please, you're doing just fine. Anyone on the internet who literally looks like they're fucking, making cookies at 6, going to the library at 7, well done. If that's what they're doing, right, and they're mentally sane, well done, Nanny McPhee. But the rest of us aren't, right? And I believe there's a couple of those golden stones in the world, those untouched people. Alhamdulillah for them. However, that's not most of us. So you know what? Watch them and then move on. Everything is about circumstance. Everything is about mentality. And like I also get the messages from people like, tell me how you do it, with the weight loss and all the rest of it. And I'm like, you know what though? It is about experience and mindset and mentality and what someone's been through. And don't judge what I can do based on what you can do, because we've walked different shoes, man. We've walked such different shoes. So I've realised that I'm holding myself to those standards now, and I'm trying to give myself the advice that I'm giving you guys and saying, sack it off. Like, now I will let this dishes sit in the sink for 3 hours while I go and fucking sit down for 1 hour, watch a TV show, film content for another hour, and then take a shower with the other hour. It shouldn't have to be a sacrifice. And genuinely, I'm finding myself, you might not believe it, but I'm mellowing out a little bit. I'm mellowing out. So, in regard to the podcast break, I want to address that before I forget about it. The podcast is going to be 14 episodes. This is episode 13. Last episode will be next Wednesday, and then we will be on a break from, what's the date next Wednesday? 21st. 21st of March. So we'll be on a break from the 21st of March to the 21st of, what day is the 21st of May? Me just randomly pulling dates out like I'm that organised. See what I mean? She's a fraud. Absolute fraud. Let me bring up the date. 21st of March. Not March, May. Okay, so we'll be on a break from the 21st of March until the 22nd. No, let's just say 21st, 21st, because the following day after that is the 22nd. So the next podcast will resume in May. I'm going to be traveling a bit more because I equally just want to feed what feeds me, and I like to travel. So I'm actually going to travel in the time that I'm away from you guys. So if you do want to still connect, like genuinely, forget about fuck the following, fuck the engagement. If you still want to connect and you still want to here's shit. I do post different shit on different platforms, and I will still try and do that, and I will try and show up more on YouTube, especially on the side of socials YouTube. So follow on those things and just let's commute, let's what? Let's stay connected on those other platforms. Please, 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 please. This was really short and sweet. But I feel like I don't want to just talk for talking it. And I know some of you keep DMing me saying, make your podcast longer. You know what it is? I think I had a massive like emotional dump on you guys. I admit it, and you know what? It's not probably not great for you know what? It probably I don't know who it's great for, but actually, I spent the last 3 weeks after it just exhausted, and then the 3 weeks after that, feeling exhilarated. And I thought, you know what? Now I'm exhausted. I've got nothing to say. Well, like I said, I've got lots to say, but I just don't know how to say it. So they're feeling a little shorter and sweeter. But you know what? Like you can't, let's not force anything. But I do keep reaching out to you all, and I want to emphasize it again. Please, please, please contact me with your scenarios, your stories. You will all be kept anonymous, and we can talk about them on this podcast. If you want me to bring back far, bring back far. I really, 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 really hope. And you know, and this is not me begging, this is me explaining to you the longevity of what I see for this podcast. I really hope that with the consistent content brings consistent content for you guys and this podcast too. So I'm hoping we can scale up this podcast, maybe get out of this green room because I'm sick of having to wait for my kids to sleep to film it. Yeah. I'm living life on the edge. This is living dangerously right now. And maybe, just at that point, maybe we can talk to other people. The reason why we're not talking to other people right now is I can't do the Zoom podcast. No. I need to talk to you. I need to see you. I need to smell you. I need to feel you, and we can chat. So hopefully in the long run we can get there. But until then, you will see me on this sofa every single Wednesday for the foreseeable, other than when we take our break. I really, really hope that the short message that I have said today does resonate with some of you guys and does help some of you, man. Because honestly, I'm really some of your messages, man. I'm just like, oh man, and like some of you, I can't believe how many of you resonate with what I've said, and I feel like I hardly said anything at all because I was really fighting hard to hold it back, but. I want to say one thing to you guys, and it's one thing that I just realized this last week. This week, I don't know what week it is, but it's one thing I realized, and this is what I mean by consistent content, right? I used to go out all the time and all the rest of it. This is one thing that I'm the queen of digressing, right? So if you knew here, you don't know here, you know what I do. Anyway, right? So anyway, I was thinking the other day, I was like, we might need another mirror for this bathroom, and then I was like, wait, another mirror. And then it triggered me. Like I used to still dress how I dressed, obviously, different because styles change, but I used to always be very dressy person, right? But I would always get dressed in my house in the mirror, get ready in the mirror. And when I would leave, I would never look in the mirror. Like if I went to the toilet, like somewhere in the restaurant, I would always just look into the sink and leave. And I would never look in the mirror until I got home. And we only ever had one mirror in my house, in our house, in mine and Farhan's house. And I remember Farhan used to say all the time, we need more mirrors. Like I can't, how do you not have a full body mirror in this house? And I used to say, because I don't want to see my full body, like it makes no sense. And I realized that I just didn't want to see what was looking back at me. And I know that has nothing to do with this consistent content, but actually it does, because that's something that I was completely unaware of. And I've realized subconsciously now I'm adding more and more mirrors in this house. Like there's a mirror every corner, and I'm like, wait, that must mean that I'm starting to like what reflects back at me, because that didn't happen before. I genuinely, some of you might not believe me because I make fashion content in front of a mirror all the time, but that is so different. Like that was purely for the fashion content, but I realized that, you know what? You don't know anybody, because even me, who were in that situation, in that mindset, I didn't even recognize I was there until now when I'm out of it. So, like, when you look at other people walking around, going about their day, wherever they work, on their lunch break, whatever, you guys listening, no one has a clue. Sometimes even you guys don't have a clue what you're going through. So just be gentle with yourself, be kind, be patient, and try to understand the smaller things. Forget the bigger things. Try to understand the smaller things, because the smaller things, at the end of the day, when you step back, they make the bigger picture. God, God, I should write a book, shouldn't I? No, I shouldn't write books. I don't actually read books. That's really embarrassing of me to say, because I've got quite a lot of as ornaments. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't read a book. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't sit still. I just can't. I was in London the other day. Someone was at the fucking tube station. There's like 4,000 people there, standing there. We're all like crammed together like sardines. He's reading a book. I'm like, honey, how are you even thinking straight? But anyway, we're digressing. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because, like I said, I don't want to force it. Next episode, we're gonna have a full, thick final episode. We're gonna make sure we recap everything. We're going to say our final goodbyes. You guys are going to keep subscribing because we're going to hit 1,000 subs on YouTube before the end of this season, at least. It's been 3 months and there's like 950 of you. Now, that is nothing to some people, but that is incredible. Almost 1,000 subs on YouTube in just 1 month. The more subs, the more I can do with this. And that is just period. It's just that. It's just a fact. So I will see you all around. If you are listening, please don't forget to follow. If you've not already reviewed this podcast, please give it 5 stars. If not, wait and hold your 5 until you think it deserves it. And if you don't think this one deserves it, go back because there is many more episodes before this one. And if you're watching on YouTube or any of the other podcasts, no, it's not. No, I'm wrong again. If you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, and follow me on the other platforms too. We have TikTok, we have Instagram at Sip and Sala. And I will see you next Wednesday for the final episode.